I mentioned on a couple of videos ago about how prep is the most important part to building a shower and or doing a bathroom renovation. I am currently at a job where my customer has done a lot of the prep for me, and I want to go over some things with this. Oh, by the way, this is going to be, just in case you were curious, this is going to be elongated type tile. I don't have the tile yet, but sorry, it's going to be going this way. I think it's going this way. Yes, the tile is going to be going this way, elongated, kind of small, large format tile, kind of medium size. The shower is going to be elongated, I think 12 by 24, staggered, I believe. You can see the bench over there. There's going to be some bullnose going on in regard to the bench and the window, which you'll see momentarily. There's going to be some Schluter strips on the side here, on this side and on this side of the shower. But as far as prep goes, this floor used to be linoleum. I can tell because I see the remnants of the linoleum that was here. So they took off the linoleum, made a pretty decent floor out of this, so I can put Durock down here and get started on the floor thing. The vanity is going to be a freestanding vanity. I don't know why back in the day, this house is probably in excess of about 25, 30 years. Back in the day, the vanities were about waist level, and now they're almost chest level, not quite, but the vanities were very small. The vanity that he currently has sets up higher. It's like a piece of furniture because it has legs on it. I do quite a few of those, but the problem is the plumbing always has to be bumped up. So these lines and these lines for the double vanity will have to get bumped up probably about 8-12 inches up to about that point there, and then so will the drain lines for left and right. And when I do the measurement for the back of the vanity to where the openings are, I'll know exactly my parameter left or right. I think it's going to be pretty close already to where I need to be with the openings in the back of the vanity. But obviously the line's got to go up. And what really messes up things, sometimes plumbers when they build a house actually put the plumbing in the floor. And trying to get that plumbing, even cutting out this wood and going up under, sometimes precludes me from taking it out of the floor and into this plate here. Sometimes these plates, this is an exterior, well this isn't, but sometimes you have an exterior wall and these plates are kind of thick and there's just no way. Well, anyway, I'm not going to go on, but it's very irritating when you get stuck in a situation where your plumbing's coming up through the floor. It makes me have to use the current plumbing and go through that nice vanity through either the drawer area where I have to cut out the back of the drawer to make it work, or I have to go up through the bottom shelf of the vanity and put holes in it, which I don't like doing. Anyway, so enough of that. On to the shower. As I started talking about, the prep is everything. So what had happened here, as I said, this bathroom is a good part of 30 years old. Had builder's grade tile at one point, so normally on my videos I show kind of before and after, and if there's stuff that you can learn in between, then I also video that, and I can't show before because it's not here. So he went ahead and did all the tear out of all this material, and here's the window I was talking about. It's a little odd. It has a recess that goes in. The window's here, and then the recess comes out again, so you have a shelf and then the top part, so that's kind of weird. The tile will eventually go all the way, ceiling and everything, all up to the ceiling, but the ceiling up under there, the tile will go there, up to the ceiling. So we're going to put bullnose on the bottom, bullnose on the top, bullnose around the top of the bench for the tile where the planes are different, the vertical and the horizontal meet, and then the sides will get the Schluter, as I already mentioned. So getting back to the prep, as I was saying, I interrupt myself a lot, and I don't mean to do that, but I get focused on one thing and then jump to the other. So this floor had some wood rot going on, if you can see here. It's not too bad, but because the wood rot was located somewhere around the curb area, which it always is, he just decided to take out the whole floor and replace the floor, which is actually perfect for me, so I have a nice smooth even floor that I don't have to worry about prepping myself. He put a couple of 2x4s in here for the curb. Actually, this is the plate that facilitates all the bench and everything, and then he added a second 2x4. So I put a third one on. This is almost a 4 foot by 4 foot space, not quite, about 3.5 by 3.5 or so. So anyway, what else? So this used to be a tub, as you can clearly see, because there's a tub spout at the bottom. So this is a 5-foot opening from left to right. And so his vision, which is absolutely wonderful, I love this about some people that have vision, he took out this whole tub, which I'm sure was a cast iron tub and weighed, 300 pounds. And then he left the valve there, which is going to be my part. But then he decided, because his vision, he wanted a bench, and it didn't take away from this 5-foot very much, that now you have a shelf over here, you have a bench over here, and so we're not going to do a niche. There's really nowhere to put a niche. I could put one over here, but it's not even needed. Shampoo, soap, all that stuff is going to eventually go on the bench. And I can tell that he built this bench at a slight slope. Just by my eye, I could tell that. What else? So this is going to be changed out. I'll put a shower valve somewhere around here. This will be taken out. He's already done the scabbing of the 2x6, which I do all the time, all the way around. The only place that he missed was right here, which he has a piece, but I guess he was hesitant to put it in because you don't have enough room to put it in here. What I normally do is I'll notch out, probably about to there, I'll notch out on my saw this much of the wood, and then if I'm close to there, I'll also notch out. I'll just mark a line here and notch out, and then I'll stick that in there and toenail it in. So I'll probably still use that. If your lines are actually really close to the edge here, then I'll use a piece of plywood, and then I'll get some finishing nails with my nailer, and I'll do the same thing. I'll just kind of do a toenail nail left and right with the plywood. If you didn't have the scabbing for your shower pan to rest up against, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I just like doing it. And that's my take on this prep so far. There are a couple of things I also wanted to mention. Oh, by the way, he's also marked where the drain is going to be, because this is a dead center where that X is. So where the X marks the spot, I'm going to drill down. I have access from the bottom. This was, again, a bathtub, so it was an 1.5-inch pipe, and the 1.5-inch pipe is sitting back there, so I'll transition downstairs the 1.5 to 2-inch. I'll bring it in here, I'll have a P-trap, and it'll come straight up where the X is. Hopefully there won't be a floor joist in the way. But getting back to the prep part, people often ask me about benches, and there seems to be some controversy whether the bench should be inside or outside of the shower pan. Meaning, right now the bench is built outside of the shower pan. So if it was inside, it would almost be, well, it's hard to explain, but you would basically have an open area up to there. You would have your scabbing inside the 2x4s, and then the bench would be built on top of that, and then your pan liner, well, sorry, let me back up. Your pan liner would go up, and you would pour your pan. Whether you poured your pan or not, the bench would be inside of the shower pan area. So I'm against that. I don't feel that that's a good idea. If for whatever reason, and I build my benches in a way that water will never ever penetrate into these benches, so I'm not concerned about it. A lot of people are, because they tear benches out and they find damage. But you have to go back in time and realize that when people did builder's grade tile, 4x4 ceramic tile with non-sanded grout, that's usually where I run into the problems with either the floor, the walls, benches, things like that. We're not doing that anymore. So this is a solid surface that's going to be on here. There's going to be Durarock on the top. Actually, I put plywood down and then Durarock. Durarock on the face. This will be all waterproof with RedGuard, probably 2 to 3 coats, and it's going to be sloped, and then of course it's going to be sealed afterwards, so there'll never be any water penetration. But if there is ever water penetration, then you're relegated to finding whatever your problem is. Let's say there's water penetration, you got a leak downstairs. That way you only taken off this tile and taken off the prep part, and you're not disturbing this whole shower pan area. You don't have to take out all this material and the tile 1 foot up and figure out what's going on within the bench, i.e. within the shower pan area. That's what happens, and the trouble you get into if you build your bench within the shower pan. If you build it outside of the shower pan and you only specifically have a problem with the bench, then you can focus and you can get this taken care of without the need to disturb anything over here. That's my take on it. And you can do it your own way, but I just use common sense a lot of times, and that's the way I ensure that my jobs don't go south on me. So This is going to be a little complicated. A brand new window was set in, and there's very little room on here. There's probably about an inch and a quarter of room on here. By the time I put my backer board on the tile on, there'll be a little bit more girth. There's going to be bullnose on the outside of here, which will match up to the cut pieces that go on the inside of this window. And then I'll run some silicone alongside here too, so that we're not having water penetration in there. And by the way, it's very, very rare that I use silicone. I don't believe in silicone. It rarely sticks to the surfaces you put it on. Water gets behind it and has a tendency of mold and mildew, more so than a latex caulking. But in this case, I'll put silicone. I might put latex caulking, but it's rare that I do caulking in showers also, and I'm kind of jumping ahead of the game because I'll talk about this when everything is done and put together. Where there are varying surfaces, well, there is a vertical and a horizontal. A lot of tilers believe that all those vertical and horizontal where they meet should be caulked in after the fact. I built my shower 4 years ago almost, and I have nothing as far as caulking in my shower because there's no separation. Sometimes buildings settle and sometimes they don't. If there's ever separation between the two planes, you know, the left and the right here, if there's a separation going on in your grout at a certain point, you notice a little crack or something going on, that would be the time to caulk. But if you start caulking from the get-go, then 6 months, a year later, you're going to have to cut all that out and recaulk and then recaulk, and you're starting a problem. You're starting what you think is a solution, which really doesn't have a solution if there's never anything going on. If there's no problems to begin with, then there's no solution, is my bottom line. It's only when you have a problem that you should form the solution. So you can retroactively come in and caulk any time, but I don't suggest caulking right off the bat because that just is going to buy you, more maintenance issues. So anyway, that's about all I can tell you on this. This is a beginning phase. As I said, prep is everything. This is exactly the way I would have prepped everything had I been here. So, I have a good jump start on this. And first thing I'm going to start in on is the plumbing, because I want that all out of the way before I start in on the shower pan liner and pouring the pan and all that stuff.